The helicopter blades cut through the crisp mountain air as we soar above one of Turkey's most magnificent yet hidden treasures. Below us stretches the vast expanse of the Taurus Mountains, their ancient peaks rising like sleeping giants from the earth itself. From this aerial vantage point, the landscape unfolds like a living map of geological history, each ridge and valley telling stories that span millennia. Southern Turkey reveals itself as a land where time has chosen to pause, where the relentless march of modernity has yet to disturb the sacred rhythm of life that has pulsed through these mountains for countless generations. The Taurus Range, stretching along Turkey's Mediterranean coast like a protective barrier between the sea and the Anatolian plateau, harbors secrets that few travelers ever discover. These are not the Turkey of bustling bazaars and ancient monuments that fill travel brochures, but rather the hidden gems of rural existence, where authenticity lives and breathes in every stone house and every worn footpath. As our aerial journey continues, the camera captures the dramatic interplay of light and shadow across the mountainous terrain. The peaks themselves seem to pierce the very heavens, their limestone faces carved by wind and weather into sculptures of divine artistry. Here and there, patches of snow cling to the highest summits, even in the warmer months, while lower elevations burst with the verdant green of Mediterranean vegetation. Ancient cedar forests cascade down the mountainsides like green rivers, their branches heavy with the wisdom of centuries. The remote villages of the Taurus Mountains emerge from this landscape like precious stones set in an intricate crown, cradled by towering peaks that serve as natural fortresses against the outside world. These settlements represent humanity's most harmonious relationship with nature. Life here unfolds at a gentle, timeless pace that modern civilization has largely forgotten, where the concept of rushing is as foreign as the languages spoken in distant cities. Descending now toward one such village, the stone houses come into sharp focus, each one a testament to architectural wisdom passed down through generations. These are not mere buildings, but living chronicles of human adaptation to mountain life. The honey-colored limestone blocks, quarried from the very mountains that shelter the village, have weathered countless seasons while maintaining their structural integrity and natural beauty. Roofs of red clay tiles catch the morning light, creating a warm palette that seems to glow against the dramatic backdrop of the surrounding peaks. The lush greenery that surrounds each dwelling speaks of careful cultivation and deep respect for the land. Small gardens burst with vegetables and herbs, their orderly rows a testament to the inhabitants' skill in coaxing life from the sometimes challenging mountain soil. Ancient olive trees, their gnarled trunks, speaking of centuries of patient growth, provide both sustenance and shade. Fig trees heavy with fruit lean over stone walls, while grapevines climb trellises with the same determination that has driven human settlement in these mountains for thousands of years. In these ancient stone houses, where wooden shutters painted in faded blues and greens frame windows that have witnessed the passage of countless seasons, generations have lived in harmony with the land. Each dwelling tells its own story through weathered doorways and worn stone steps, polished smooth by the feet of children, parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents. The walls themselves seem to hold memories, absorbing the laughter of wedding celebrations, the tears of farewells, and the quiet conversations of families gathered around hearths on cold mountain nights. Here, the rhythm of life is dictated, not by clocks or calendars, but by the eternal dance of the seasons. Spring brings the awakening of wildflowers that carpet the mountainsides in brilliant colors, from the deep purple of wild lavender to the bright yellow of mountain broom. Summer arrives with its golden warmth, when the high pastures turn emerald green and the sound of cowbells echoes across the valleys. Autumn paints the landscape in shades of amber and rust, as villagers gather the harvest that will sustain them through the quieter months. Winter wraps the mountains in contemplative silence, when families draw closer around their fires, and the ancient art of storytelling keeps the long nights warm with shared memories. The simple joys of daily existence are not just cherished here, but elevated to an art form. Morning coffee shared on a stone terrace becomes a meditation on the beauty of the day ahead. The evening meal transforms into a celebration of the land's bounty and the family's unity. Children play games that their great-grandparents might recognize, their laughter mingling with the mountain wind in a symphony of innocent joy. As we observe the daily rhythms of village life, we encounter the local inhabitants who have dedicated their lives to the ancient partnership between human and animal. These are the shepherds and farmers who rise before dawn to tend their livestock, continuing traditions that stretch back to the very dawn of civilization. Their weathered hands and sun-lined faces speak of decades spent in intimate communion with the land, reading the signs of weather and cloud formations and understanding the needs of their animals through subtle changes in behavior. Meet these remarkable people who dedicate their lives to raising cows, sheep, and chickens with a devotion that transcends mere occupation. For them, animal husbandry is a sacred trust, a responsibility passed down through family lines like a precious heirloom. Each day begins in the pre-dawn darkness as they guide their livestock across the green plains and rugged slopes, following paths worn smooth by countless generations of hooves and feet. The cows, sturdy mountain breeds adapted to the challenging terrain, move with surprising grace across slopes that would challenge even experienced hikers. Their bells create a percussion symphony that announces the herd's presence across the valleys, a sound that has marked the passage of time in these mountains for centuries. The shepherds know each animal individually, understanding their personalities, their preferences for grazing spots, and their place in the complex social hierarchy of the herd. Sheep, with their thick wool coats perfectly suited to the mountain climate, follow ancient migration routes that connect high summer pastures to protected winter valleys. The shepherds who guide them possess an almost mystical understanding of the landscape, reading the terrain like a familiar book, and knowing instinctively where the best grazing can be found. Their shepherd's crooks, carved from local wood and polished by years of use, serve as both practical tools and symbols of their ancient profession. The chickens, though seemingly humble compared to their larger barnyard companions, play their own vital role in the mountain ecosystem. Hardy breeds that can withstand the temperature variations of mountain life. They provide both eggs and meat while helping to control insects and pests around the village. Their cheerful clucking adds a domestic soundtrack to daily life, a reminder of the simple abundance that careful stewardship can provide. This tradition of pastoral life has endured for centuries, surviving conquests, political upheavals, and the gradual encroachment of modern technology. The knowledge required to successfully raise livestock in the challenging mountain environment cannot be learned from books or taught in classrooms. It must be absorbed through years of patient observation, passed from parent to child through daily example and quiet instruction. The shepherds understand the subtle signs that indicate changes in weather, knowing when to move their flocks to shelter before a storm arrives. They recognize the plants that provide the best nutrition for their animals and those that must be avoided. They know the stories of the land itself, which valleys flood in heavy rains, and which slopes remain stable in all seasons. Turning our attention to another vital aspect of village life, we witness the ancient art of bread making as it unfolds in the hands of women who have inherited culinary wisdom from their mothers and grandmothers. These are not merely cooks, but keepers of cultural tradition, preserving recipes and techniques that connect the present generation to thousands of years of human civilization. The process begins before dawn in kitchens that have remained essentially unchanged for generations. Stone floors, worn smooth by countless footsteps, provide a cool, stable surface for the heavy wooden tables where dough is mixed and kneaded. The women gather flour ground from wheat grown in the village's own fields, water drawn from mountain springs, and yeast that may have been maintained in the same family for decades. Watching them work is like observing a sacred ritual. Their hands, strengthened by years of kneading, work the dough with a rhythm that seems to pulse with the heartbeat of the mountains themselves. Each woman has her own technique, subtle variations in timing and pressure that give her bread its distinctive character. They knead with a patience that modern life has forgotten, understanding that bread cannot be rushed and that the best loaves come from dough that has been given time to develop its full potential. The aroma that fills the air as the bread bakes over fires fed by local firewood carries more than the promise of nourishment. It represents continuity, tradition, and the deep satisfaction that comes from creating something essential with one's own hands. The wood itself tells its own story, carefully selected from trees that have grown in these mountains, seasoned by time and weather until it burns with the clean, hot flame that bread making requires. As the women work, they share stories and laughter, their voices weaving together in conversations that might touch on village news, family matters, or memories of previous generations. These kitchen gatherings serve as informal councils where community wisdom is shared and preserved. Young women learn not just the techniques of bread making, but the social bonds that hold the community together. The finished loaves, golden brown and crusty on the outside, soft and aromatic within, present far more than simple sustenance. They embody the village's relationship with the land that provides the grain, the traditions that preserve the knowledge of their creation, and the community bonds that make their sharing possible. Adding an element of wild majesty to this pastoral scene are the horses that roam freely across the pastures and mountains. These magnificent creatures, descendants of the hardy mountain breeds that have populated this region for millennia, create some of the most breathtaking spectacles that these ancient mountains have to offer. Their presence serves as a powerful reminder of the wild beauty that thrives in this largely untouched landscape. The horses themselves are living symbols of freedom, their muscular bodies perfectly adapted to the challenging terrain of mountain life. Their coats, ranging from deep chestnut to silver gray, shine in the mountain sunlight as they move across the landscape with fluid grace. When they gallop across the open pastures, their manes flowing like silk banners in the wind, they embody the wild spirit of the mountains themselves. These are not domesticated animals, but truly wild horses, maintaining their own social structures and following their own ancient rhythms. The lead mares guide the herds to the best grazing areas, their knowledge of the terrain passed down through generations of wild existence. The stallions, proud and protective, watch over their families with an alertness born of centuries of mountain survival. Their majestic presence creates scenes of such natural beauty that they seem almost mythical. Against the backdrop of snow-capped peaks and green valleys, the sight of these horses running free speaks to something primal in the human spirit, a recognition of the nobility and grace that exists in the natural world when it is allowed to flourish undisturbed. The horses follow seasonal patterns as ancient as the mountains themselves, moving to higher elevations in summer where cooler temperatures and rich alpine grasses provide ideal conditions, then descending to more protected valleys when winter approaches. Their hoofprints create paths across the landscape that other wildlife follows, making them unwitting architects of the mountain ecosystem. Local villagers regard these horses with a mixture of respect and wonder. While they do not attempt to capture or domesticate them, they recognize their importance to the mountain environment and take pride in sharing their landscape with such magnificent creatures. The horses, in turn, seem to understand their place in this delicate balance, grazing peacefully near the village livestock while maintaining their wild independence. As the day draws toward its close and the sun begins its descent behind the peaks, the entire landscape transforms into a canvas of extraordinary beauty. The golden hour in the Taurus Mountains possesses a quality of light that photographers and artists have struggled for centuries to capture adequately. The limestone peaks catch and hold the warm light, glowing like enormous lanterns against the deepening blue of the sky. From our panoramic viewpoint, we can observe how the setting sun creates layers of color and shadow that reveal the true complexity of the mountain terrain. Valleys that appeared simple from a distance now show their intricate networks of ridges and ravines, each one carved by countless years of wind and water. The interplay of light and topography creates a constantly changing display of natural artistry, as shadows move across the landscape like gentle dancers. The golden glow that spreads across the valleys touches everything with an almost magical quality. The stone houses of the village seem to absorb and reflect the warm light, their limestone walls appearing to glow from within. The terraced fields and gardens take on the appearance of a giant staircase, each level catching and holding the light in its own unique way. This daily transformation serves as a reminder of the cyclical nature of life in the mountains, where each sunset brings the promise of a new dawn, and each season flows naturally into the next. The beauty of these moments is not diminished by their regularity, but enhanced by it, as if the mountains themselves are performing a daily celebration of their own existence. As we reflect on the magic of this journey through the heart of the Taurus Mountains, we begin to understand that we have witnessed something increasingly rare in our modern world. Here, in these remote villages cradled by ancient peaks, life continues to follow patterns that have sustained human communities for thousands of years. The integration of human activity with natural rhythms, the preservation of traditional skills and knowledge, and the maintenance of strong community bonds represent achievements that urban civilization often struggles to replicate. The magic we have witnessed lies not in any single spectacular sight, but in the seamless integration of all the elements that make life in these mountains possible. The stone houses that provide shelter while harmonizing with the landscape, the traditional foods that nourish both body and cultural identity, the livestock that provides sustenance while maintaining ancient partnerships between human and animal, and the wild horses that remind us of the untamed beauty that still exists in our world. Here, in the heart of the Taurus Mountains, life reveals itself as a beautiful tapestry woven from tradition, nature, and community. Each thread in this tapestry, whether it be the patient kneading of bread dough, the careful guidance of livestock across mountain pastures, or the quiet conversations shared over evening meals, contributes to a pattern of existence that has proven both sustainable and deeply satisfying for countless generations. As our final aerial shot captures the village settling into the peaceful embrace of night, we see lights beginning to twinkle in windows like earthbound stars. The night sky, unpolluted by urban light, reveals its full glory of stars and constellations, connecting this small human settlement to the vast cosmos beyond. In this moment, we understand that we have been privileged to witness not just a beautiful landscape, but a way of life that honors both human needs and natural wisdom. The Taurus Mountains and their hidden villages offer more than scenic beauty or cultural curiosity. They provide a glimpse into a more harmonious relationship between humanity and the natural world. A reminder that progress need not always mean the abandonment of traditional wisdom. In these ancient peaks and timeless valleys, we find not just a destination, but a deeper understanding of what it means to live in genuine partnership with the land that sustains us.